What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and taking doing a Nemleria Regenesis deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Mimi. And this deck is an extremely fun deck to play that plays one of my favorite engines in the entire game now, Regenesis. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell there so you can come part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. And definitely give Mimi some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Dreaming Nemleria. Dreaming Nemleria is definitely a 3-of in the build that has an awesome ability that once per turn, during your main phase, you can actually place one Nemleria continuous spell from your deck or graveyard face up on the field. And if you do, add this card to your extra deck face up. But you cannot special summon Dreaming Nemleria the turn you activate this effect. This is an awesome effect because you can actually place your copy of Dreaming Tower of Nemleria directly on your side of the field, so you can start searching cards from your deck to your hand. This card also has a great monster effect that it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from face up from your extra deck by having no cards in your extra deck except this card. And you can only special summon this card once per turn. And then this card is special summoned for every 3 of your face down banished cards. You can actually banish up to 1 card from your opponent's field and or graveyard face down. Then shuffle one of your banished face down cards in the deck for each card you banished by this effect, which is such a cool ability. This card is definitely a 3-of in the build and one the entire deck revolves around. We then play 3 copies of Devourer. Devourer is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card has 2,500 attack points and 2,500 defense points, which works really well with our Regenesis cards. And this card is a great ability, and this card is in your hand or your grave. You banish 3 cards from your extra deck face down, except a copy of this card. Then special summon this card to your side of the field. And you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect except Pendulum monsters. And you can also send one of their level 10 beast monster from your hand or face from field to the graveyard to send a Nemleria trap directly from your deck, which is a really cool ability to instantly get to a copy of Repeater. We then play a single copy of Chocolate. Chocolate is awesome as a 1-of in the build because this card is really, if you have a face-up Pendulum monster in your extra deck, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you have a Dreaming Nemleria face-up in your extra deck quick effect, you can actually banish 1 face-down card from your extra deck face down, and this card gains 500 attack for each monster that your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. We then play a single copy of Vanilla. Vanilla is great as a 1-of in the build because this card can also special summon itself to your side of the field, but this card also has a great ability that when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a Nemleria card, you can actually banish 1 face down card from your extra deck face down to negate the activation, but you only use that effect once per turn. We then play a single copy of Dreaming Reality of Nemleria Realized. This card is really good as a 1-of in the build, as this card has an insane effect that it gains 100 attack for each face down card in your extra deck, and it also has an insane effect that if this card is in your hand, you can actually target 1 card you control and place it on the bottom of the deck. If we do, special summon this card. And if this card is special summoned, you can activate one of these effects to add a Dreaming Nemleria from your deck to your extra deck face up, or change one of their face-up monster on the field face down into defense position, which is a pretty cool Book of Moon effect. We then play 3 copies of Regenesis Archfiend. Archfiend is definitely a 3-of on the build because this gets the entire Regenesis engine rolling. As this card is good, you can special summon this card from your hand by revealing 1 other monster in your hand with 2,500 attack or defense, and then special summon this card. This card also has the ability, if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually add a Regenesis card from your deck or banishment to your hand, except another copy of this card, and all of your Regenesis monsters actually share an awesome common effect that during your opponent's end phase, if this card's in the graveyard, because it was sent there this turn, you can add this card back to your hand so you can summon them all over again. We then play a single copy of Sage. Sage is an amazing 1-of in the build, as this card has the ability that if a monster 2500 original attack or defense is on the field, you can special summon this card from the hand, and also when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can send one of the Regenesis card from your hand or face from field to the graveyard to negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. We then play a single copy of Regenesis Dragon. Regenesis Dragon is really cool as a 1-of in the build because this card helps you deal with your opponent's back row. We then play a single copy of Regenesis Warrior. Regenesis Warrior is great as a 1-of in the build because this card has a great effect to quick effect, trade with this card, and then target a 1 monster that your opponent controls and return it back to the hand. We then play a single copy of Regenesis Lord. Regenesis Lord is really powerful in this deck because this card gets absolutely massive. It must be special summoned from your hand by banishing one face-up monster control with 2500 original attack and defense points, which is actually super easy to do, as we have our copy of Devour and we have Archfiend that we can use that with, which is so cool. This card also has an insane effect that if this card is special summoned, you can set a Regenesis spell or trap from your deck to your side of the field against 2500 attack points during the battle phase only, and if this card attacks a defensive monster, inflicts piercing damage to your opponents. This card comes out at 5000 attack points during the battle phase and can do piercing damage, which is actually insane. We then play 3 copies of Lava Golem. This is a going second deck, so you want to be able to play Lava Golem in the deck because this deck does not have a normal summon, so you can actually use Lava Golem in the build to tribute over your opponent's monsters, which is so cool. And this card also has 2500 defense points, which works really well with our Regenesis cards. We then play 3 copies of Fluros. Fluros is really good as a hand trap in the build to help you dig into the deck for the exact cards that you need, and just overall a fantastic hand trap in this going second deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with 2 copies of Dream Tower of Princess Nemleria. This is the card you want to place on your side of the field with your copy of Nemleria, as this card is lets you banish 2 face-down cards from your X deck face down to add 2 level 10 beast monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. And you cannot special summon the X deck the turn you activate this effect, except Pendulum monsters. But this card is awesome to help you grab the exact Nemleria card you need directly from your deck to your hand, as it does search level 10 beast monsters. We then play 3 copies of Sweet Dreams Nemleria. This card is basically the Rhoda for the deck, letting you add a Nemleria monster from your deck to your hand. Then, if you have a Dreaming Nemleria face up in your X deck, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects this turn when your Nemleria monster is normal or special summon, which is a great ability to be able to use. You can also place this card from your graveyard on the bottom of the deck, and then target a Dreaming Nemleria you control and add it to your X deck face up, which is a great ability. We then play 3 copies of Regenesis. Regenesis is an amazing card because this card lets you take a Regenesis monster from the deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Or, if you control a Regenesis monster, you can add 1 monster with 2500 attack and defense points from your deck to your hand instead. And then this card's in the graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it to target a Regenesis monster in the graveyard and special summon it. We then play 3 copies of Regenesis Code. Regenesis Code is amazing in this build, and this card is so powerful for Regenesis. It lets you special summon a Regenesis monster from the deck, but send to the graveyard during your opponent's end phase. Also, until the end of the next turn that this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the X deck. And during your main phase, if this card is in the graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish him and then target one of your banished Regenesis monsters and special summon it. We then play 3 copies of Ultimate Slayer. Ultimate Slayer is great in this build because we do not really special summon from the X deck at all in this deck. So this card is great just to deal with one of your opponent's monsters, because this card is able that your opponent cannot activate monster effects in response to this card's activation, and lets you send a monster from your X deck to the graveyard, and then target a monster your opponent controls with the same card type, Fusion, Synchro, Exy, Pendulum, or Link, and shuffle it into the deck, which is such a powerful ability to be able to use, especially in this going second build. We then played 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. Pot of Extravagance is really good in this deck just to help us draw 2 cards, because again, we really don't special summon from the extract too much, so this card is really good just to banish cards from our extract so we can draw 2. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Nemleria Repeater. This card is really good as a 1-of in the build, as this card is really, if you control another Nemleria card, you can banish the following number of cards from your extract face down, except a copy of Dreaming Nemleria, and then activate the appropriate effect. If you banish 1, you get to add a Nemleria card from your graveyard to your hand. If you banish 2, any battle damage you take this turn is halved. If you banish 3, you send 1 level 10 beast monster you control to the graveyard, and if you do, negate the effects of all face-up monsters that your opponent currently controls until the end of the turn so we can go in for game. We then play a single copy of Regenesis Birth. Regenesis Birth is great in this deck as a 1-of, but I feel like 1 copy is really all you need. This card is able to send a Regenesis monster from your deck to the graveyard, and then target a face-up monster that your opponent controls, and change it to face-down defense position. Then, during your opponent's turn, you can actually send this card to the graveyard to special summon as many Regenesis monsters as possible with different names from your hand, graveyard, and or banishment, but send in the graveyard during the end phase, which is an insane ability just to swarm the board with your Regenesis cards. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, the extra deck is just very toolbox for Ultimate Slayer, but we do have a couple of cards you can actually summon in this particular extra deck. So we're going to start off with Typhon. Typhon is an amazing card to be able to play because this card is super easy to summon. It's a skill drain for 3,000 or higher attack point monsters, and it's balanced, and it's one of the few cards you actually can make in this entire extra deck. We then play 2 copies of the Final Bringer of the End of Times. This card is great to be able to make every so often in this deck because this card is actually a walking negate and is a pop, which is super cool. We then play 2 copies of Aggregator. Aggregator is great to be able to play in the deck for your copy of Ultimate Slayer because if it does touch the graveyard, it's a negate. We then play 2 copies of Golden Cloud Beast. Golden Cloud Beast is great to be able to use with your copy of Ultimate Slayer. Instead, this card is sent to the graveyard. You can target 1 face-up card your opponent controls and return it back to the hand. We play a single copy of Wind Pegasus. Wind Pegasus is great to be able to spin cards because this card can banish this card from the graveyard, target 1 card your opponent controls, and shuffle it into the deck. We then play 2 copies of Elder Emptiness. Elder Emptiness is great in this build, just to help us pop cards on the field. We then play 2 copies of Garua. Garua is awesome in this build to be able to use, because this card, if it does touch the graveyard, lets us draw a card. And then finally, we play 2 copies of Frigid. Frigid is really good in the build for our Link monster, as if this card touches the graveyard, we can draw a card, which is insane, and then place a card from our hand on the bottom of the deck, which is a pretty cool ability to be able to use. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Nemleria Regenesis deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's super fun to be able to play, and it's insane how powerful it is, and you don't even need the extract, which is why I'm playing so many different Ultimate Slayer targets in this deck. So, that's good for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell in there so you can come part notifications. We'll see you guys in the next video. See you, guys.